You're listening to the Barretta Brothers, two of us. For best results, use both ears.
Little stretching. Can we drop the music out? Little fade out. Little fade out. I'm just gonna do a little stretching.
I thought it said that we were going to go on at 5:42 Eastern.
Oh, 5:42? I thought it was 4 Eastern. We see my eyes. These are my puppy dog eyes because we have bad news. We'd like to apologize. You're all just going to hate us. We can't show it today. Oh God, they're just going to spit on us. Can people spit through the internet? Is anybody writing anything nasty yet, Jason, that they hate us? Gene's crying.
No hatred yet.
Off the bat.
No hatred yet.
No hatred
Off
yet.
the bat, let's just mention. Okay.
I like having Jason with us. It comforts me.
They can throw the tomatoes at me. It's all good.
So we're gonna have to postpone, folks.
But it's only a week.
Technical difficulties. Hey, we waited 30 years and 1.5 hours. So
what's the big deal? One more week.
Next week, same time. But we're gonna hang around for a bit and answer any questions for a little bit. We don't want to give too much away. So we're gonna look at our chat stream. Start sending your questions.
But we can talk about anything.
We'll spend a little
we don't
time
have to talk about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about dinosaurs either. We can talk about anything. But really, we apologize. We had some issues. I'll blame. Jason. He's going to get the tomatoes thrown at him, but it's not even his fault. Because I'm wearing a jacket. I just don't want to get it messy. But we're really sorry. This is an unfortunate thing, but we promise we will be 100% ready next Sunday, same time, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Our good friends and producer and engineer team are going to do it with us again. We really appreciate it. But for today, I'm so sorry. But like I said, you want to spit at us? You want to call us names? Now's the time. Go ahead.
We'll be posting a lot of reminders during the course of the week too, so you'll have that.
And you can
as well
say mean things there as well. That's another opportunity.
Yeah.
Has anybody said anything
about my cats? So, do we have any questions?
Fried green tomatoes. Our cousin Jolie would like to throw fried green tomatoes at us. But Josh Hankemeyer says it's cool. Josh says it's cool, Gene. No sweat. But our cousin apparently has issues with us being late. Can you still take calls now? We can take questions, Jesse, not calls. Oh, sorry.
What are our favorite desserts? Asks Marshall Grover. Bill, you start.
My Aunt Kathy's chocolate mousse. Done.
I will go with Reese's Cups. I adore them.
Interesting.
Nothing beats a Reese's
Do we have a big
cup.
delay? How much of a delay do we have? If I say, tell me when I say one.
There.
Wow. Okay. Now I know.
I started my sentence 3 weeks ago.
You started your sentence on the time we were supposed to show the show today, and I just got it.
4 o'clock, I asked.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go from here? What do we got on there? Jason, do you see any questions?
Fun, Jason?
Yeah,
I want to hear some of the mean
do.
ones. What are the mean ones?
Yeah. Well, so a good question just came in. What are some of your favorite episodes of Dinosaurs?
Oh, I like a new leaf.
With Baby and Earl.
I like a new leaf, and I'll tell you why. So Leif Tilden played Robbie. He was inside of Robbie, and I was the dad, Earl. And the episode was about that green weed that they first discover. And Leif and I happened to we lived together during the shooting of Dinosaurs. And he and I uh, choreographed the dance number that they do together. So that was something that I just remember we did at home, and was just ridiculous. And so that's a favorite of mine for that reason. Yes. And I also like the one where Earl buries Ethel by mistake. That was a good one. And I think Tim Curry plays the devil in it, the dinosaur devil.
I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with the show myself.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I read
Anything else, Jason? Got another one?
Yeah, we got a couple. Yeah, we got a couple. Who is your favorite character to perform, Bill? And I think this is more generic, not just dinosaurs, but maybe Muppets as well.
Yes. Well, this is the most difficult question I'm asked because I don't really have a good answer. I'm sorry. The only answer that I can honestly give you, this is the truth, is that I like them all for different reasons. Boring, really boring, but I like them for different reasons. I like Pepe because if it's a scene and it's something fun to do with him and he reminds me of my wife's aunt in that moment, I enjoy playing that. If it's Johnny Fiamma, it reminds me of my dad and my grandfather. And so it's honestly truth. I don't have a favorite. I just like them in the moment, and that's what I enjoy the most about them. Sorry, boring. Gene, how about what characters do you like to perform?
I liked performing one of the warthogs in Muppet Treasure Island and one of the rats on the barrel in Muppet Treasure Island. And I did,
Yes.
speaking of dinosaurs, I did Roy Hess's right arm in one episode because I was hanging around the set.
And you created
one of
Cookie
those
Monster
gloves.
and You created Cookie Monster and Grover,
Well, now we're going
which
back.
was great.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot of people know that Gene created
Not
those
a lot
two
of people
characters.
know that when I first created Cookie Monster, he was Flan Monster, and he just loved
Right.
flan. So
Yeah.
a lot of kids just didn't get flan, so we had to change it.
And
We
it
had
was
to
very
dumb it
messy
down.
on the puppet. Well, and it was messy on the puppet. It was a lot of cleaning up the puppet. So
It didn't make not enough crunch.
Flanny.
Just a
His
lot
name
of
was Flanny at
drool.
the time. Flanny Monster.
Flanny Monster. I think we have a new
Anything
Sesame
else?
character.
Yeah.
Monster.
So, Bill, what were some of your favorite memories from Muppets Tonight?
Well, first thing that always pops. I probably just the fact that I guess I'm supposed to pick like a favorite specific thing. I'm so wishy-washy and generic because I liked my favorite moments are the ones where I'm just messing around with the other performers, where we're just after a take we keep going and something outside of the script happens that you didn't expect. Oh, Grouper. I did like that character. That was a new thing. He was like a Russian fish. He was a grouper. And I did like playing him. He was fun to do. Yeah. That's what I got.
I have
Cool.
a Muppets Tonight memory. I got to do an I remember my off-screen scream.
I do. Yep.
There was Arsenio Hall was the guest, and there is a shot where his character dressed in a clown suit falls through the ceiling, but that was shot the day after he was actually there. So I happened to be visiting, and they said, "Gene, we need someone to scream as the character falls from the ceiling." So I got to do that part, which was pretty cool. That's my
Yes,
favorite.
and Christopher Darden was on that episode. because he was investigating the death of Arsenio Hall.
Some Jesse likes Zippity Zap.
So
Zippity
another,
Zap? Oh my gosh, yeah, Zippity Zap. And look at somebody said Howard. Oh my God, it's Howard. He hasn't done a lot, but you might see him soon, possibly on Disney Plus. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it loud. Although I am. I'm kind of saying it loud. I should say it softer. He might be on Disney Plus. Shh.
Speaking of softer, Wally says my audio is very quiet. Is that true?
I think it's your voice.
I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
all right. So
Speak right here.
another question that has come up a couple times is around maybe a dinosaur reboot. Do you think there's any possibility that it might ever come back?
I don't know. I mean, if I were a betting man, can they hear you? They can hear you asking these questions, right? It's not like we have to repeat back the question. Okay, good.
Nope.
If I had to guess, not in the form that it originally was. Not in big suits, not in big animatronic heads, not in super, super large stages of furniture and stuff. I think it would be some other kind of cool CG version or something. I don't know. But I don't think we'd do it in the raw, so to speak. And I probably wouldn't even do it. I'm too old. No more big suits for me.
So lots of fans of your shirt, Bill. I think you might be able to raffle that off.
So this was, I don't even know how many are out there anymore, but this shirt is literally 30 years old. I didn't wear it very much, so it's still in pretty good condition. And it's got like a raised, bumpy texture to it. His eyebrows are raised, and it's really kind of a cool shirt. It was very cool back then, and I still like it, but I don't wear it a lot because it's special to me. You
Check
are
this
my
one
friend.
out. This is actually Billy's. This is the Dinosaur show had a baseball team, and you played other TV shows, and this was the shirt and the hat, and they spelled his last name wrong.
Whee! But I was number one.
They spelled it with one T.
Yes.
But,
cool. How did working on Dinosaurs differ from other Muppets projects?
Oh my God. They're so different. I mean, Dinosaurs was a huge production. I mean, just alone the characters, the minimum character, Gene's typing, the minimum character, what am I saying? Each character at a minimum had 2 puppeteers. So, if you had the family, let's say the family is in a scene, it's 5 characters. Each one had the minimum of 2, some had 3. So you've got like 15 people to do one scene that would normally take 5. And so it was just very different. Most, aside from the baby who was a hand puppet, all of the characters were walk-around suit characters. Most of them were walk-around, not Ethel. She was also a partial puppet. And then we had hand puppets as well, but it's just a completely different thing. Plus they're, 1,000 times heavier or something than the Muppets. So
you're going to hear a lot about next week. You're going to hear a lot more detail about these costumes and the challenges.
It is really
wearing them.
Yeah. We feel so awful and so bad, but it is a really great show, and I can't wait for people to see it.
A big show too.
and things they'll sue.
It's
Yes.
pretty comprehensive. Yeah, I mean, we what we do in the show next week is we take dinosaurs, the entire history, and we take you on a journey from the initial concept and initial conversations all the way through to the premiere.
Airing.
And we talk to each of the departments chronologically, so you build the characters as the show grows and get
I mean,
lots
almost all the
of great
departments.
information.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of departments and lots of people that obviously we couldn't either track down or couldn't be a part of it, but it's really fun. It's really pretty.
And we're going to have a bunch of rare behind the scenes video and pictures to show as well. So there's lots to see that you don't see anywhere else. You're going to come back.
Yeah.
How
What
often
do
you
you
get
got,
to see an egg from the set? It's
Here, I could
deteriorating.
give them this. I could show them this. It's in the background.
Go ahead.
This could be a little nice little thing for you guys to see that I think I maybe shared. But this is Earl, the original design by Kirk Thatcher. You can see if you know what Earl looks like. He is a bit different. He's a harder edge kind of character. But again, the other thing, there's things to talk about on the show and things not to talk about now. What else,
Yeah,
Jason?
there's a bunch of good questions that I don't think we're going to want to answer, but I'm just going to tell you what they are so that maybe we'll pique people's curiosity to tune in next week. But there's questions about what were some of the technical difficulties and on-set dilemmas that were faced during the filming, which I know is something that we talk about.
Next week.
Exactly. And another great question: why were we using voice actors instead of letting the puppeteers do the voice of the Sinclair family? Which is another good question.
Next week.
Yep.
Somebody in the UK said that it's very late in the UK and they would like a bedtime story. Should we give them one? Just improvise a little line by line?
Well, you could. You don't have anything to draw on? You have a little drawing you could do?
I don't know how well you're going to see it. That's the problem.
Why? Why?
Can
I
we
have
just tell
glasses
it?
on. We could try. Okay. Are there any parameters to the bedtime story?
No. We don't go blue.
Who's it from? Did you notice?
Once upon a time, somebody named Reeves. Once upon a time.
Reeves. There was a pigeon.
Larger than an elephant.
But yet lighter than a feather.
His middle name was Conundrum.
I think our delay is not good for this bedtime story.
Yeah.
It's going to be really long bedtime story.
It'll put them to sleep. It's like the
all
Comac.
night. It's just going to take all night to tell the bedtime story.
We'll be telling it until next Sunday.
Yeah. Bill, is Howard Tubman, can I just read this one? Bill, is Howard Tubman somewhat related to Bobby Vegan?
Yes.
No.
In a way.
No.
Right? Design-wise?
Well, they're not related.
No,
Not related.
But when I designed Bobby Vegan, it was kind of it was based around the original Tinseltown designs from the first pilot, but we wanted to freshen them up a bit, so I redesigned Bobby and Samson to the more recent version that you see.
Yes. What else, Jason? Anything groovy?
They were wondering if you ever met Jim Henson.
I did. We both did.
Yeah.
The first time I ever met him was at an amusement park. I've probably told this story way too many times, and I'll do it quickly. I was working at a place called Sesame Place in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, and they had just started installing these animatronic characters in the park. And one of them was Oscar the Grouch in a trash can. And they would have it placed in a specific area, And us being the operations department, we would stand next to it and watch it and watch people watch it and make sure people didn't touch it or that it didn't break. And we would notify people if it was broken. Well, this one time I happened to be standing in what was the food factory, and there were big windows that you could see the front of the park, the front gate from where I was. And I was standing there and I'm watching, and I look and I see Jim Henson come through the front gate, just walking in, just walking along. And I ran from my post and tried to get my composure and walked up to him and I said, "Hello, Mr. Henson. Welcome to Sesame Place." And he said, "Oh, thanks. Thank you." He said, "Hey, do you happen to know where the Oscar in the trash can is?" And I was like, "Do I?" And I brought him over to where I was supposed to be manning my station. And he just stood there for a while, and I watched him watch Oscar, and he just kind of, just watching. But I always remember that because I thought how humble he was. He didn't come through some special VIP area or through the back. He just took it upon himself to come through the front gate just like everybody else, and he probably paid for admission, I'm going to guess. But that was my first meeting.
The best time, though, right, was in New York.
The what?
Can we tell that?
The what?
The best time. Can you hear my voice okay?
Yeah. It's the delay.
Okay.
I'm talking over you.
Yeah. We were driving in to see Brian one day when he was back from England in New York. It wasn't until we parked the car, we said, "Wait a minute, the address here, could this be Jim's place?" And when we went upstairs, it was, and we hung out with Jim and Brian and a few other friends for a little while, and it was pretty heavenly. My best memory was he couldn't see some sign way in the distance across Central Park, and he and I were trying to figure that out together. As minor as that seems, it was like heaven for me. But
Yeah.
how about
Recognize
this? So when I was 14,
it was
I decided,
hard to see, or maybe you see it better there.
Yeah, I'll put
Show
it
it again.
back.
It was really
No,
show it because it was really fuzzy.
Oh, you're seeing my screen though. Is it still fuzzy?
That's better over here. No, that's better. That's all right. That's all right.
Anyway, this was the early 70s, and Bill and I were interested in making our own Muppets. So I sent a letter to Jim Henson. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Cousin Gary and I were trying to make our own. So I said, well, why don't I just write him a letter and ask him how? And on February 13th, 1974, he wrote me a letter and sent instructions. And so I still have that letter. It says, "Dear Eugene, it's always nice to hear from a fellow puppeteer. I'm sure your puppetry is as original as your paper designing." I had my own little personal letterhead. "I'm sending you information on the Puppeteer of America, also some information on puppet making. Bert, Ernie, and Kermit the Frog wish to send their regards and thank you for thinking of them in your artwork. Best of luck with your puppet show. Sincerely, Jim Henson." And he included a couple photos with very early versions of the Muppets there. I know it's a little hard to see.
That's when it was, right? 74.
Yeah.
What else? Julian says you're freezing and cutting out a lot, Gene. Here's one. Here's a good one. Matthew Liddick says, Gene, can you hear me?
Well, yeah.
Matthew Liddick says, "Hey, Barretta brothers, do you remember the day you two first met?"
When we first met?
Do you remember when I was born?
No, but I do remember jumping into your crib to kind of like just hang out with you. All the attention was going to the crib during that year. So I guess if I get in the crib, I'll get some attention.
Because Gene is 22 years older than me.
Shook hands. Yeah.
Anything else? Jason, got any goodies? or how are we doing? Are we done? What are we doing?
Yeah, we got a couple
Somebody else
more.
spelled it. You think you mean Carl? Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I'm not looking where I should be looking, am I? Tell me why. All right, but it's loud. I'll do Carl, but it's loud. Watch your ears, everybody. You ready? What do you want me to say? Dad, say something and I'll say it back to you. More? You want me
Can
to
you
say
do
more?
Gene?
Gene? Clean Gene?
Can you do Gene the Behemoth?
Yeah, sure can. Want to take a bath with me?
You got nice teeth, Jack Black.
Yeah. All right.
So there was a question about how did you develop the Pepe character?
Oh my goodness. Well, I
Well,
hate to
I was
bore
playing
people
around with
with.
some voices.
Yes, Gene, go ahead.
I was playing around with some voices, and I looked over at a box that said Peppers, but
Wow.
it was a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't reading well at the time, and I
Yeah.
read it as Pepe. And they were so hot, I was choking, and my voice started getting all raspy like this. Okay, and so before you knew it, you were on the phone with me, and you said, "Wait a minute, there's something there," and you just
I
took
got
it
that
from
from
that
you.
moment.
I stole that from you. I remember that. I remember that. Yep. There you go.
Yeah, well, Johnny
Anything else?
Fiamma was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Tell them how
him
I took that from you.
Yeah, I workshopped a few
Right.
characters. Did this Italian
Right.
swooner, Johnny Fiamma. I said, Billy,
Yeah.
take a look at this. He was living in California at the time, so I didn't know
But
what.
what was interesting? I mean, the only change I really made with your Johnny, when I took your Johnny Fiamma, was I changed it to crooner instead of swooner.
I like swooner. We always had an argument about that
I
because
know
he
we
was in
always
love with
talked about
someone
that.
else. Yeah,
Right.
and so
Right.
you were away in LA for years, and you were performing him for years without me even knowing it, and I rim hell.
Yeah, behind your back.
Later
Yeah,
on, I
behind your back.
forgave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the Bobo? Tell them about the Bobo one.
Oh, Bobo. Oh.
Yep.
Is there one that I haven't originated for you? I guess this is how it's been.
Bubba. You didn't come up with Bubba.
I don't like mice characters. Yeah.
Right. He's a rat.
Oh, he was a mouse when I started him. Bobo. Let me think back. Bobo was a circus clown originally. Bobo the clown, and he had a pet bear, and they were in a bad traffic accident, and it was so bad that you could barely even make out that there were two people in the car at the time. That they discovered the bodies. Did you miss my story?
I did. I got distracted. Sorry. I missed it. There was bodies involved?
Well, Bobo the clown had a pet bear, and they were driving down the 405, bad traffic accident, so bad that they were smashed together into one.
Oh.
So you couldn't even make out that there were two. And so the clown and Bobo kind of became, the bear and the Bobo became one. And after a long period of mourning and laughing, we developed it into
All right. Well, there.
I do remember. Here's a cool story.
Oranges. Wait, those are the oranges. Oranges of the characters. The oranges. Oranges.
What?
The orange. That's where they come from. The oranges.
Oh, the
of the characters. The
oranges. Oh,
oranges.
The backstory.
Yeah, where they're from. The oranges.
I remember before they built a brace for Billy, which they did during Muppets from Space, right?
Jane.
Wasn't that when they first built that? Yeah, because
a little before that.
He was doing Muppets Tonight. Okay, so
Oh no.
he was doing Bobo. Yeah, I think it was Muppets from Space because I was there and I saw them fitting
Well,
you and all that.
it was
I was
updated. It- yeah.
okay, but anyway, before that, he was doing Muppets Tonight with Penn and Teller, and they were doing some kind of card game or card tricks. And your arm got so tired that you just lost full control of it, and Bobo just kept like passing out in the middle of a scene, basically. And
Well, it was hard because all the weight was on the back of my, like he couldn't, his whole nose would go flat, and he was hard to do for long periods of time without having support.
yeah, was Bobo's name Rentro in Muppets from Space? Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah, Bobo as Rentro. I don't know why we did that, but I just did a
So
thing with Jeffrey Tambor. Yeah, you said Bill. Jason, did you say Bill?
no,
No.
yeah, I did, but I was going to give you another question, but I didn't know that you were still going.
Oh,
I
I was just going to
apologize.
say no, just one quick thing. I just did a podcast with Jeffrey Tambor, and we talked a lot about Bobo, him and Bobo. He loves Bobo. We had so much fun doing it. And the one thing he always tells me is how he he tried not to laugh. And he told me when we first started the movie, we were just having a conversation. And I don't know how it came up, but he said, "I never crack up on camera. I always get other people to. That's it's just what I do." And I thought, okay. And that was my goal through the whole film, was to get him to crack up on camera. And if you watch, there's the scene where he asks Bobo for his remote, and it's like a close up of Jeffrey's head in the foreground and Bobo's in the background at his desk. And Jeffrey says, "Rentro, the remote," and Bobo says, "The goat," which I just made up because I was trying to laugh. And he starts to laugh, and he has to turn his head away from camera, and that's the take they used. Actually, they kept the crack up take.
I have a good question I see online, and I bet we can answer it for each other. Which celebrity made us the most starstruck from our cousin? I bet I know yours. You probably know
Who?
mine too. I think yours was Tony Bennett.
The most starstruck? I have to tell you, the person I think I was like, well, yeah, that's hard because Tony made me cry in my tracks. I couldn't carry on because I was, I guess, so starstruck. But Michelle Pfeiffer was another one that just made me lock
Well, I
up.
guess, well, starstruck, maybe I'm starstruck, I guess, is where you just kind of go, all silly and can't
Mm.
compose yourself. I was thinking more just, happy to be in their presence and that sort of thing.
Oh. Mm.
But okay, well, Michelle Pfeiffer is a good one too. Do you know mine? And it wasn't actually, and so it's not so much I was like blah, 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 blah. It was more just like such an honor to be in the presence of this celebrity. And
I
celebrity
don't
wouldn't
know.
be a word he would.
Is it a musician?
No. And
Oh,
the person
I don't
probably
know.
wouldn't like the Mr. Rogers.
Oh, wow, yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Rogers.
because I spent an afternoon with him. This was after I was doing I sent him a letter after I was doing some animation with Sesame Street. And I guess
Mm.
because I was connected with the show, he felt safe inviting me to come and visit.
Oh, wow.
So he said, if you're ever in the neighborhood, drop on by. I filmed in Pittsburgh, and I'm here outside of Philadelphia. So I immediately got in touch with his people and drove out. And they were shooting in the Land of Make Believe that day, doing some pickup shoots during the summer. And I spent the afternoon with him, and it was just I have pictures. He let me play with King Friday, and he brought me over to the piano and played for me, and I hung out with Speedy Delivery and Lady
Mr.
Lane
McFeely.
Fairchild, and it was just like Mr. McFeely. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
stepping into a dream, and he was exactly the way he is on TV, just like everyone tells you. That was mine.
I guess somebody I always wanted to was, I always wished I would have met Jimmy Stewart. That was somebody I always wished I would have met. But didn't happen.
I still would love to meet Paul McCartney. That's where I would lock up and just not, because he's heard everything that anyone can tell him, right? So you'd be thinking, I don't want to sound stupid. I want something, but I really just want to tell him I love him, and he's made my life extra and magical.
I just saw something about how was the Family Feud experience. I'm not sure. You're talking about the one years ago? I guess that's what they mean, right? I don't know any other one.
Isn't it just?
I loved it.
Yeah, you just did the 5 shows, right?
Yeah, I loved it. It was all just because it was just all, you're just playing a game. How much more fun could you have with the Muppets than just playing a game? It's nothing to do but have fun.
It's still my favorite. I think it's my favorite game show. It's just something about the pacing of it. So, anyway.
Josh,
all right,
sorry,
so
you were going to
2 or 3 more.
Yeah, so a good question was, what was your first introduction to the Muppets? Was it the movie, the TV show? How did you learn about the Muppets initially?
For both of us?
Yeah.
Or is that? Yeah.
I guess we'll start because I came
introduced
first with
me
it.
to Sesame Street. I was just going to say, Gene basically watched Sesame Street, and I watched him watch Sesame Street, and then that was my introduction to Muppets.
It was that simple. Our cousin Gary and I were just flipping through the channels, and this was probably 70 or 71. And flipping through, we saw Bert and Ernie, and it was just, what is this? And we were in our early teens, so we wouldn't tell anybody that we watched it, of course, because then, we were afraid of being made fun of. But we watched it religiously, and then Billy's 4 years younger than me, so then we brought him in to watch, and he just, brought him in to do whatever we were doing. So that was it. Simple as that.
I hated it.
It was such a nice combination. It was Sesame Street followed by Mr. Rogers. So you'd get all this great fun entertainment full of life and energy, and then Mr. Rogers would chill you out, get you ready for the evening. It was perfect. Perfect 90 minutes.
Somebody just said, so now somebody's quoting Johnny Fiamma Family Feud lines that I completely forgot about. Name something a kid would thank God for on his bedtime prayers. And Johnny said cannolis. He was the worst. He ruined almost every one. My favorite response, though, the one I do remember, is, and it was up to him, and he blew it, I think, and then the other team won. But it was, name a green jelly bean. And it went around the horn, and Johnny was last, I guess, or fifth, the last strike. And I literally couldn't think of anything, and all he could say was olive. He thought olive. It might be in a jelly bean. Oh, wow.
Wow, John Popovich, that's real inside baseball. I mean, that's a big fan there, if he remembers that. He's given Jesse Oliver some competition in knowing everything Muppets.
Jesse just wrote olive.
He's undefeated. Jesse the Encyclopedia Oliver.
They're both each one. They're neck to neck. They both said olive. Look what's going on here.
Maybe we should do a Family Feud with John and Jesse.
Ah.
All right, should we do one more? And
sure. Let's let Jason.
On like half an hour. Okay, Jason.
Whatever Jason wants.
There was a quick one was, Bill, did you name the weasel from Muppets Tonight Eugene?
No.
Was it named Eugene?
The weasel? Yeah. Right? I don't even remember.
Eugene?
Oh, I think it was the one that didn't speak. Was that Eugene? I don't remember, actually. I think it's the one that Steve used to do. It didn't talk. He loved that weasel. But I didn't know it was Eugene.
There's three that you named after me. There's the behemoth. There was Eugene the wild dog or the hunting dog from Jim Henson's Animal Show. And then there was a guy in the orchestra pit from, what was the TV movie? The Very Merry, was it Muppet Christmas
Very
or
Merry
the other
Muppet
one?
Christmas. I don't
Where they end
remember.
up in the theater at the end and there's an orchestra in the pit. Wasn't that kind of spontaneous, you and Steve? Where he just needed a name and Steve came out and just named him or gave him the name
I
in
think so.
the moment? Okay.
I can't remember anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, are we maybe forgiven a little for not having our planned show today? We are sorry.
Let's do one more.
It's
I
all
made that too
Jason's
gene-centric.
fault.
Do one more so we don't
Yeah.
end on something that's so gene-centric.
Who is your closest friend from the Muppets?
Well, that doesn't seem fair. My closest friend from the Muppets? Well, Brian.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
I mean,
Good answer.
good answer. Good answer. Is it Brian? Is it Brian?
Olive.
You could do the Louis Anderson Family Feud. Dave Goles. Is it Dave Goles? Frank Oz. Frank Oz.
Oh, by the way, should we tell them? We can tell them? We can tell them about the show following the Dinosaurs show.
Yes.
Of course, this should have been Dinosaurs night. And then the following week, we're having Frank Oz and Dave Goles on. But now we're going to film it next week, but we'll bring it on live with us as hosts the following weekend. So we've got them coming up after the Dinosaurs reunion. So that's going to be pretty cool.
And they're both mentally deranged.
Lots of cool people to look forward to. We should mention too that it's very lots of Muppet stuff and all that, but we're going to expand and bring in lots of people from all the different arts along the way. More from my world, children's books, publishing, musicians, fine artists, anything you can name. To keep broadening the show with lots of really cool people doing lots of cool things. Electricians, suits, lollipop sticks.
What? Lollipop what?
People that make the lollipop sticks.
Oh, right.
Look at this.
Yeah, everything.
What would this be without the stick, right? You've got to appreciate. You got to give props.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd do a three-part episode, like a trilogy of lollipop production. It's going to be good.
By the way, I also haven't told Gene yet, but we're also planning on doing additional shows celebrating the 30th year of Dinosaurs with smaller groups so that we can spend a little more time with some of the people. I know, but we didn't plan it. I'm just saying I'm just putting it out there. So now people will make you do it with me. But we're thinking maybe it's a little smaller group. This is our really big shoe launch, I think, for the 30th, and we'll have some more little boutique-y, intimate groups that I think will be a lot of fun too.
We had over 40 people recorded, which you're going to see. So of course, they could all be guests for an entire show if we wanted to. So there's so much more information.
Sure. Yeah.
So we'll do that. Okay. Bill. Again, we'll be posting some reminders during the week, but we'll see you hopefully next Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific. Appreciate you hanging in there with us. We got all the technical stuff worked out. It just was a timing thing that, yeah. Okay, I did bring it, Wally. There's more lollipops over there. I'll have them for you next week. Okay. Well, gang, we're going to say goodbye. Until next time.